What's up, everyone? It's Tuesday night. I just wanted to go live. It's something I've wanted to implement into my social media presence for a long time. And I thought, you know what? There's no reason to go overboard trying to plan it. It's like I just have to dive in. So, back when I was in school, I went to school for music industry. That's what I got my degree in. And the last couple of years I was in school, I worked at the college radio station. And that was a lot of fun. I missed those times a lot. That's why I wanted to try and implement live streaming back into my social media, whatever you want to call it. Because I used to have a show once a week, 2 hours. And I just miss going into the studio, hanging out. You have all the equipment right there, the microphone, you're on air. You could just play whatever you wanted. And I miss that kind of talking to the microphone, just broadcasting. You could talk to people on air if you want, you're playing whatever you want. You just have all the equipment and the board right in front of you. So I want to do something like that again, but with live streaming and just see where it goes. You know what I mean? Because also based on my education, I'm going to also talk about other things, like I guess what inspired some of my songs, some lyrics, production, and whatever else it evolves into. But also, what I got into the habit of for the last few years, once I realized when I was like 16, I wanted to learn more about the music industry because I wanted to be an artist, a musician. I realized that I wanted to learn more about the industry, and I wanted to stay up to date with different innovations happening within the industry. Just things behind, I guess, the entrepreneurial side of it. Because as an artist, I guess sometimes we do have to wear the hat of also being an entrepreneur. Being on top of all of our daily activities, not just the creation of stuff. So I found myself, I'm always in the habits the last few years of I wanted to look around on different sources, what's happening in the industry from a creative, business, and entrepreneurial standpoint. You know what I mean? But going back into also stuff that I've released recently, in February I released Come Down, and the lyrical inspiration for that, it was inspired by this party I went to a couple of years ago, and it was inspired, I tried this substance for the first time, and it was a really great experience. I'm not advocating anything, but it was short-lived, and it was an experience where then that distinctly inspired lyrics, and I thought that, well, then what if it went south? What if then it caused nothing but anxiety and paranoia? And so this party is in this house with a bunch of people, among your peers, but also not everyone. You don't necessarily know everyone that closely, acquaintances. So it inspired the fact, what if then that experience went south? What if it caused nothing but anxiety and paranoia? Since it was the first time I was doing something, that could sometimes happen because you never know how your mind and system will react. So that distinct individual event inspired the lyrics because there's even been times with other experiences where sometimes you don't necessarily know what may be going on around you, and you just get a little sketched out. That was something that inspired the lyrics for Come Down. And the video was shot on Staten Island, and it was shot right under the Verrazano Bridge at a place called Fort Wadsworth. Fort Wadsworth was this military base. It's been around, I think, for maybe 200-300 years. It's basically, I'm not sure what its exact use is today. I'm not sure if it's abandoned. But I remember, starting in high school, I used to go there a few times because it was just great to wander around. There was, so much, there was also, mystery to it. It's you'd be right under the bridge, you'd have the water right there, and you'd see a view of Manhattan. And it was, it was romantic in a way because I was, 15 or 16, and going there, it was what is this place? I never knew it existed. So I wanted to shoot my first video there because I felt like it was close to home. It was still on the island. And it's this is a place I used to wander. And I thought, you know what? It got to start somewhere. And I thought that would be a cool place. It had a lot of cool nooks and crannies in it where you could dive into it and you could have great shots. There was little areas within the fort. And there was also snow on the ground. So you know what I mean? We had to try and find the best spot. And it was under the Verrazano Bridge. So that was why I wanted to shoot the video there. And I shot it with Shaolin Visual. Shout out to them. They did excellent work. And it was great working with them. They helped bring my idea to life. And then moving on to Leave It All Behind. What do you usually write first? Music instruments. What's up, Brian? Thank you for actually commenting. I'll go back to, what do you usually write first? Honestly, I focus, it depends. Most recently, I've done more mostly because with my process, sometimes I'm just playing, I want to play just the instruments with either a drum machine guitar, or sometimes I go for a sample-based approach. Whether I find something online, Also in the last year, I've been utilizing Splice a lot more, mostly for percussive instruments where, depending on where I am, it helps me bring ideas to life quicker. But usually it goes by music first. And then I'll either write the lyrics according to like what the key of it is or what I feel goes best with the production. Or if I have lyrics that I've written a while ago, what may go best with the vibe of what the song will be. But it's always 75% like music first, because I feel like that can dictate, you know what I mean, what the lyrics may be about. Thank you for asking that. But yeah, it's 75% music first. Music's less instrumentals and then lyrics, because I feel I have to figure out the music first and then figure out what the lyrics may go to. You know what I mean? If I was a little scattered, I hope that helps. But yeah, that's usually what the process is. For even the last 2 songs I released, yeah, I did the music first. 100% the music first. And then the lyrics were inspired after that. I believe Come Down, like the lyrics I may have had written. No, it was a topic I wanted to dive into, but the lyrics were after. And Leave It All Behind, it was a subject I wanted to dive into. The lyrics for that was based on where, you know, especially, I feel it now 100%. Like that early 20s limbo, that post-college limbo, especially with what's transpired in the last year. But I wanted to write a song based on where you realize if you're in a relationship, right, it could mean anyone. But for me, it was like a personal relationship where you're not necessarily seeing, you don't see eye to eye with the person you're in a relationship with. And it's all good. There's no animosity, but you both realize, listen, it's like we're in our early 20s. We're not seeing eye to eye professionally, you know what I mean? And you realize it's best if you just come to a peaceful end and just move on, because you both have a different understanding of where you want to be professionally, also socially, you know what I mean? Especially trying to do music or production or whatever full time, it's like, it's very volatile at times. It doesn't have a safety net. And that causes stress. Even for me, that gives me a lot of tension sometimes, especially now. Especially like a year later, it's like, what could happen, short, medium, and long term. But it's just, I try to stay grounded with what I want to try and focus. In terms of music, I just got to keep going, and whatever happens, happens. At 23, this is the best time, you know what I mean? That was what inspired the lyrics. I had those lyrics and that topic in my head for a while, and then the music came out of it. For that song, I found a beat first on Splat. Not a beat. It was different percussive instruments as well as a full beat that I put together into the first fragment of the song. And then I recorded the guitar live in my dining room. I had my Line 6 amp, my Fender guitar right here. That's what I used for it. And then vocals last. I recorded vocals in my dining room. I tried to make it as close-knit, close-mic'd as possible without any humming from anything else, but that's what I did. And that was the lyrical inspiration for Leave It All Behind. And sonically, I wanted to just have live guitar, a beat, and I was thinking about doing live bass, but I just did an 808 progression first. I wanted it to be like a slithering kind of 808 for it, replacing a bass guitar, because I just wanted to try and have that. You know what I mean? I thought, let me just stick with the lead guitar. Let me just have one live instrument for this, have a beat, and then have some 808s with the vocals. And after I just had that, those were the only elements. I try to go with a less is more approach for that. But, so this, I guess I could call this Miltrick Media. I forgot to say in the beginning, but yes, this is the inaugural broadcast of Miltrick Media. Whoever is checking this out, I will post it on my, I guess I'll post it later. But the second part of it, what I want to dive into, like I said earlier, because of my studies and what I want to keep a focus on, I guess just as an independent artist, I'm fascinated with looking at what's also going on in the industry, from the creative side, the entrepreneurial side. So the last few years, I would compile these lists of like industry websites that has these articles weekly, daily, and let's say these aggregate sites or whatever, and they pass along this great information that I feel helps me with my daily activities as a creator. And also if I'm trying to figure out what to do next, I guess business-wise, But one thing I found cool, Digital Music News. This great article I found a few days ago. As streaming takes over, music metadata is becoming more critical to musicians. How critical, you ask? And this article has a lot of great bullet points about how music metadata can really help all independent artists, any artist in general. If you're trying to run your own shop, you're running your own label, you're trying to wear numerous hats at once, as a lot of us have to do nowadays. It talks about the importance of music metadata and how that could help with your locations or your placements in streaming services, how it could help you on social profiles. And this article has like I think 10 great key points, and I'll share with you. 1, music metadata enhances playlist inclusion, discovery prospects. That could always help your positioning on, let's say, Apple Music, Spotify. If you're submitting your singles for playlist inclusion, trying to get on editorial playlists. I've even realized, and I haven't yet, I have to get into that habit. I have to get my songs, let's say, 4 weeks done in advance. I've learned that if you want to get the best shot of getting on Spotify editorial playlists, if you submit everything 4 weeks ahead and you put the distinct genre, I guess, with that you just put a couple of genres on Spotify. The more time you give it, the best chance you may get on editorial playlists. So this article touches on that. Because like Spotify, a lot of algorithmic-based stuff are stuff that could really help you blow up. Release Radar, Discover Weekly. Those are sometimes even just as great for artists on the come-up than, let's say, some of the huge playlists like Rock This, Rap Caviar. That first bullet talks about the AI-driven technology. 2, all-encompassing distribution requires metadata, like stuff we use, CD Baby, DistroKid, those distributors that get us on the major streaming services. Proper music metadata allows artists to maximize their earnings, helps you stand out from among the crowd when you're posting and distributing your stuff. Contributors, including session musicians, receive credit and compensation if you're working with numerous people on, let's say, your songs and stuff like that. And the music metadata minimizes improper crediting, infringement, and payment-related litigation. Like how now on streaming services on Spotify, I think it's only a couple years old, but now you could go and show credits. It shows the writers, shows the label, and it shows the producers, which I find it fascinating. I love just like going, this keeps going black. I want to make sure it's good. It keeps going. No, the show credits. I love looking at show credits because then you see who was on the song. Oh, and Brian said, yeah, shout out, thank you, Brian, for coming through. Sorry I didn't answer it first, but word, thank you again. And thank you for whoever joined, popped in, even for a few minutes. I appreciate it. Moving on to the next thing, a great article I found on music business worldwide. This is the website I've watched over the last couple of years. I've watched some, found some great articles that's helped me. I've learned a lot of stuff. And the producer, Timbaland, this article's talking about, he has a new venture coming out. It's related to a beat-making service or a beat-making website, similar to BeatStars, I believe. I don't want to say it wrong. But I found this article fascinating because it was talking about, I believe, a new online marketplace possibly for selling beats. It talks about how, like I said, how I use Splice on my own. It has a lot of great samples. Splice has raised over $150 million to date, including different, I believe, involvements. I'm not 100% sure. A recent round led by Goldman Sachs Plus Music, the investment firm of Songs Music Publishing, it says. It also mentions other services like Beatport. And this talks about Timbaland. I believe he's thinking of launching a new online marketplace called Beat Club, similar to BeatStars, along with his long-term manager. And it says Beat Club's pitch is that it offers indie music artists the chance to use beats crafted by the producer Timbaland himself alongside other producers, big, well-named producers. And I believe now it says that artists can collaborate or not. Artists can possibly use it. So this I found really cool because that's opening up. It's another place that now people could possibly find new beats. They could post things. And it's showcasing a new independent side of the business. Moving on, another great thing I read about, Spotify's acquiring Talk app Locker Room to take on Clubhouse. Clubhouse, I need to get on Clubhouse. I've heard great things. It's an audio-only platform where it's taking up a new part of the social audio space. And Spotify's trying to get more involved, I guess. I never even heard of Locker Room, but I need to definitely learn more about it. Locker Room is supposedly a sports-focused live talk app. That sounds pretty cool. So from this article, it's saying Spotify's talking about the acquisition. It builds on the work to create future formats of audio and will accelerate and expand Spotify's entry into live audio space. So with Locker Room. With Locker Room, more sports focused, but it's, I guess, a similar format to Clubhouse. Mostly, like a drop-in, like an audio chat kind of experience. So that'll be really cool to see as that progresses what Spotify may be doing with that, how that will evolve in the coming months. Another great thing I found, Music Connection. Bandzoogle members have made over $75 million, I believe, in the last year. So I've used Squarespace for my own website, and I've also heard of Bandzoogle when I was looking into what I could do to make my own website. And this article was, when I found this, I was floored. It's amazing. It's like that's mostly driven by independent entrepreneurs and artists and musicians. Like I said, it said Bandzoogle members make over $75 million. It's a music website, and their members, I believe it was for 2020, they reached the milestone between music merch and tickets surpassing 75 million. It was mostly independent artists. So they were able to offer merch, their e-commerce offering, expand that, and they were able to just go directly to fans, and fans were able to support them. And that's great news. Bandzoogle has never taken a cut of sales. Supposedly, this is what I'm reading. It says Bandzoogle has never taken a cut of sales since launching direct-to-fan e-commerce tools in 2010. Despite the pandemic in 2020, Bandzoogle members earned $12.7 million through their websites alone, as artists' websites continue to be the hub of direct-to-fan engagement and monetization. Like I said, this article found on musicconnection.com. In quotes, it says, launching tools like virtual tip jar, live stream tickets, and an integration with Printful have helped our members generate even more revenue through the websites than ever before, and we're really proud to be able to facilitate that. Says the CEO of Bandzoogle. With the pandemic, we wanted to expand our online tools to allow musicians to reach their fans directly and give those fans multiple ways to help support the livelihoods of their favorite artists. And like I said, I wanted to just talk about some great articles I found recently and just share different industry resources I pay attention to, and I could share with you, and hopefully, and that maybe that could just help you in your own journey as an entrepreneur within the music industry, as a musician, producer, whatever you may be doing. The sources I have found these articles so far: Digital Music News, a great website, a lot of great information within talking about developments in the music industry, music business worldwide. You're looking for news, as well as they have their own podcast, and also if you're looking for jobs in the music industry, and Music Connection. Moving on, another great article I found from the Reverb Nation blog: 3 benefits live streaming is giving new artists. So even with what happened in 2020, live streaming has blown up. It's been a way for fans and artists to stay connected, and it's just helped them. I find fascinating because now it just added a new paradigm, a new depth to just live performances. Now you could have a great immersive experience just from your phone, just at home, and you can even have people support you directly through tips and even just interactions, conversations. 3 benefits live streaming gives new artists: 1, unlimited reach, an intimate performance format, and a sustainable way to build your audience. Article dives into unlimited reach. What it says: after streaming your first concert, you may be impressed with the number of fans you may have reached or you weren't able to reach. But with live streaming, it breaks down the barriers, expands the experience, and the limitless reach allows you to connect with coexisting and possibly new fans and new ones in a powerful way. An intimate performance format, even if you're known to playing on stages, there's also more of an intimacy with live streaming. And it's a great way to possibly start new connections. Sorry it keeps happening. It's like going blank. I want to make sure it's going dark. I want to make sure it doesn't go out. And a sustainable way to build your audience. You don't have to necessarily go to clubs or start a tour where then you could start to build your audience in a meaningful way. Of course, you can do both. You can do whatever you want. But that's why I want to try and just start doing live streaming. Something, it may differ as I continue to do more, but for this, I just want to just do something. I knew how to do it. I've been thinking about it for weeks. I wanted to start going live. With this, I just wanted to talk a little bit behind the scenes between what I've dropped recently, the lyrical inspirations, the production behind my last couple of songs, and even now, some industry websites I've been paying attention to, places I find really interesting developments and stories, and stuff that's really given me new knowledge as a producer, musician, and just share it to you, and you can do it as you will. And one last one I found from Los Angeles Magazine: A Simpler Time, the internet is nostalgic for last March. And it was talking about how, 12 months later, some people, according to this article, it's like, going back to 12 months ago, the different online stuff that was happening and popping 12 months ago, the different internet trends, how TikTok blew up, the different viral videos, some people are feeling nostalgic for it. And this article said it, and it was great, and that it made me agree. It was like, once this article said it, I'm like, wow, it makes so much sense. It's like, because back then, things were just happening, and the lockdown, it was still very unknown, but it was before we knew even more, even the negatives, the toll it may take. And it was kind of there was playfulness, a lot of things that was going viral, the TikTok videos, the different trends. For instance, it said back then, what brings you back to March 2020, the song that was popping back then, great song, Super Lonely by Benny. And then even different TikTok trends, like bored in my house, or in the house bored, something like that. It brought you back to a time where it was kind of just a break back in March. It was a break from work life, everyday life. For now, it's just like you have to stay in the house for a couple of weeks. You're doing some Zoom and FaceTimes, and just you don't really know what's next, but you're just seeing where it goes. Those are some great stuff I found recently this past week. Articles I paid attention to. The publications I found them: Digital Music News, Music Business Worldwide, Music Connection, Reverb Nation blog, and his last article I just found on Los Angeles Magazine. Just these random articles I found that gave me some great info that I thought I'd just pass along to you. Earlier in the broadcast, we just talked about the lyrical inspiration behind Come Down, Leave It All Behind, and even the production process for Leave It All Behind. I don't believe I touched on the production process for Come Down. But with Come Down, production process, same thing. I wanted to have, similar to Leave It All Behind, but for Come Down, the 808, the percussion / the beat, and the vocals are the main thing. I wanted that to just be the backbone of the song. I wanted the 808 to replace the bass guitar again. I wanted it to be hard-hitting. I believe it's a progression in E minor. That's the main thing. And then with the percussion, I found some great samples on Splice. And sometimes with my productions, I use my drum machine. And then sometimes I also use Splice. This is the main drum machine. I use a Roland TR-8 Rhythm Performer. I got it end of 2014. A lot of great sounds. Helped me make a lot of productions. But for that song, Come Down, I used some samples and percussion from Splice. That helped me shape the main beat. And then the 808 I created on my own. The DAW I used was Logic. I also used Logic for Leave It All Behind. I used Pro Tools as well. But these last few songs, I've been really just getting in with Logic. Logic has a lot of great virtual instruments. And even just, for me, I just feel like sometimes it helps me in terms of getting an idea out quicker. So we'll Come Down, had a main beat from Splice, samples from Splice, have a main 808 driving the song, and also just the vocals. With the vocals, what I did was I basically just performed the vocals straight through twice. I had two different distinct takes make up the lyric for the song, the performance for the song. Because with some of my productions, what I like to do is, instead of just like, because I definitely find myself overthinking with vocals, the performances, like, oh, is my voice good enough for this? I want to do it again. And because I'm in my house doing it right now, it's like sometimes it'd be better if I did have more of a collaborative atmosphere, because then if you're in a studio even, they kind of know when to cut the cord. People will tell you, like, no, that was a great take. But when you're alone, you're doing it alone, sometimes you get in your head. You're like, oh, wait, no, I could do better. Sometimes I realize I just got to know when something is done. But I used two main performances full through and just combined them together. So they were overdubs, but slightly different performances. I thought it could just give it a cool dynamic to the song. And that was just the main thing for Come Down. I was thinking of just releasing the demos behind it, doing like a B-sides and thinking about just releasing the demos for it. Because originally, Come Down also had a bridge where there was a piano in it. There was a piano progression in it. But we'll see what happens. But this was the inaugural broadcast of Miltrick Media. Thank you to whoever tuned in, whoever wrote comments in. I appreciate it. Brian for the comments. Totally agree. Music first for me. Sounds inspired. Perfect, yeah. So, just had to start somewhere. I don't know how often I'm going to do these, but it'll evolve as it goes. But just had to start somewhere, you know what I mean? So thank you. This is the inaugural broadcast at Miltrick Media. But I will see you all soon. Have a great rest of your night. And how do I... I do not know how to end this. This is funny. This is a perfect first live stream conclusion, right? Let's see. Wow, this is funny. How do I... Oof. This is funny. How the heck did that happen? Bro, I don't know how to... I do not know how to end this. Do I, Oh, duh, the fucking X at the top right. I didn't even see that.